Abortion, according to Williams Obstetrics 22nd edition, ito yung medical book, is the termination of pregnancy, either spontaneously or intentionally, before the fetus develops sufficiently to survive. That is, prior to 20 weeks gestation or less than 500 grams birth weight. So, ganun pa yung definition. Let's move on. So, what are the WHO's core list of essential medicine? There are lists of minimum medicine needs for basic healthcare system, listing the most efficacious, safe, and cost-effective medicines for priority conditions. Priority conditions selected on the basis of current and estimated future public health relevance and potential for safe and effective treatment. So again, Doktora and I have a different interpretation of the meaning of essential medicines. Kami po, ang tagal-tagal na namin lumalaban for an essential medicines list. And we were so happy when WHO finally adopted an essential medicine list. Bakit po? It's the only way to rationalize beyond doctors' prescriptions and habits, which can be completely illogical. The purchasing and procurement of medications, it does not in any way, stop doctors from prescribing the most esoteric and dangerous drugs. In fact, they still do, and I caution everyone, about just fully hook, line, and sinker believing in your doctors. But instead, for you to look at the essential medicines list of the WHO. The other thing about medical ethics that I personally prefer is that all of us doctors have the freedom to have an opinion that is contrary to the mainstream scientific opinion. Doctora can have a very different view of what essential medicines are, their usefulness to national development, and the necessity to develop enlightened national guidelines that coincide with WHO recommendations. This is still evidence-based recommendations. She can have that view. My only request for us doctors is to tell you which views are the majority views, which views are the views of a minority. And majority, I hope you believe in WHO. Kasi if you don't, uwi na lang kayo, hindi tayo magkakausap ng tama dito, di ba? Mainstream scientific organizations. You can choose also not to believe. But ethically, I have to tell you when I'm in the majority opinion and when I'm not. Especially when I'm not. I have to tell you that. Okay? So, andyan, no? Yung mga contraceptive na nasa FPRH provision, they are in the WHO essential medicine list. The mainstream health and scientific community is saying, if you do not provide this, you are not meeting the health needs of your people. And it goes back to the fact that WHO and other mainstream scientific studies are saying there are 3 pillars needed to save our women from dying in pregnancy. Access to skilled birth attendant, access to emergency obstetric care, and access to contraceptives of various types. Shall we continue, please? So, contraceptive safety, a lot have been said. If you look at this slide, if you're above 1, your risk is increased, no, for certain problems. And if you're below 1, it's protective for certain problems, kaya nagiging below 1, no? For death. Tingnan nyo yung relative risks ng smoking. Dapat we should all get together for an anti-smoking campaign. Diba? And I would agree with Dr. na pregnancy in the Philippines is not a illness. However, because now we don't have adequate reproductive health services, the risk is too great, as you can see from this particular slide. I might also say that with regards to IUD, when Dr. was challenging about IUD, ang first contraceptive device ko po ay IUD. It was fine. Let's move. Okay, shall we skip this? 5 minutes na lang daw. Ba't siya hindi niya na 5 minutes, ako 9 minutes? I protest. I'm a UP student. Faculty, I protest. Alright, so, I want to also add about sex education. No? Again, they often accuse sex education for people to be not values-based. But all my sex education, as I've gone around the country with schools, has always been based on the values of yung ethical values na sinabi ni Doktora. Your right to information, people's right to choose. So just because it doesn't have clearly religious values, and I must say I'm not religious, doesn't mean that it's not a values-based attempt to give people information. Let's move. Next. Okay, so there are other entitlements like benefits for serious RH conditions, hindi lang pregnancy, dangerous pregnancies, mobile health care, pre-marriage information, training and honoraria, services and provision by employers, and of course, a multimedia campaign. And these will be the lead implementation, and there will be a congressional oversight committee to make sure na maayos ang implementation. Next. And here are some prohibited acts. Meron nga, and this is another controversial area, but I'll skip na lang because I only have 3 minutes siguro. Go ahead, please. And I wanted to go on, please. So, let me finish with those slides. Please continue. This was the ban in Manila. Look how many women come to us during our family planning prayers in Manila where contraception was banned. And we had at risk to ourselves make fairs. Ba't hindi si Risa yan? Mamo. Galit ako sa slide. So, look, and also the devotees of the RH bill. Kung laban sa kultura natin at conservative values ang RH bill, anong ginagawa ng mga lola natin yan? And I don't mean lola in the gay sense. Tunay silang lola. Diba? Hindi katulad ng mga lola ko lang kayo, diba? And there has also been massive mobilization, many people come. And so let me make a few more final remarks. No? The other problem I have with Doctora's slide on condom is I feel I just need to give you, and then tama siya, we challenge you na lang, go to the WHO websites, the CDC websites, and do a little research. You be students naman kayo, so I trust you. Pero the IUD truly does not protect against all sexually transmitted infections because it doesn't protect against human papilloma virus, that we know. Other than that, mainstream scientific opinion, and in science, sino ba yung mga science dito na natural science? What about social science? Diba? In science, there will always be the adverse scientific finding. It's part of learning scientific literacy to understand which are the adverse findings, how you might take them into consideration or discount them, but to see whether the majority of replicable studies say one thing. The condom has been intensively researched. Its validity does not rise and fall on the few adverse studies that opponents tend to cite. If you look at the majority opinion, condoms protect against HIV/AIDS if properly used. It's also true that it's good to know it's good to be in a monogamous relationship. Tell that to people like Sylvia Estrada. And to be faithful. But let me tell you two things. First of all, you can ask me this later, and we have scientific proof as well. Very few of us are so lucky that we are certain of our partner's HIV status. I'm sorry to say that. I wish it were not true, but it's true. Maraming innocent housewives na akala nila faithful yung asawa nila. Diba? Maraming innocent girlfriends na akala nila faithful yung boyfriend nila. So, for your protection, I don't know that you should say, okay lang, kung HIV positive ka, I won't dare have sex with you, which I think also I would disagree with Doctora too. In the work that I've done in AIDS, people sometimes partner get AIDS for other reasons than infidelity, or for even reasons of infidelity, but they're forgiven. And many times, the expression of love for your partner is to have sex, especially when your partner is dying, and you know he or she is dying. That is something that I think is the ultimate in human love and compassion. To say, let's use a condom, but I will not move away from you just because you're about to die, just because you have an infectious disease. A lot of work that we've been doing in the HIV community for sheer humanitarian values alone, but also to prevent HIV infections, because people like this who are stigmatized go underground. A lot of work that we've been appealing for from the very beginning of the AIDS problem is, please do not moralize against HIV positive people. Maraming salamat.